دوستان عزیز، متاسفانه برخورد یکی از برخورد صورت گرفت.
Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. So as we all know, the current issue right now is the Taliban insurgents in Afghanistan. Just after the freshly concluded a peace deal between United States and the Taliban in Afghanistan, or it calls itself the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. Just after the US troops pulled out from Afghanistan, we have witnessed a sudden surge of Taliban insurgency in Afghanistan, and current news reports say that the current president of Afghanistan, Ashraf Ghani, has fled the country because of the insurgency. What is Taliban? How did it came to power? What is the reason behind all this tumult in Afghanistan area? What is the history behind it? And what is the current situation? Let's understand through this video. So our story goes back to 1978. We'll rewind back the clock from where this all insurgents started, the birth of the roots. The birth of the insurgents lies in April 1978 when the centrist government in Afghanistan was overthrown by Marxist-Leninist groups, by left-wing militant officer group led by Noor Mohammad Taraki. Mohammad Daud Khan was overthrown and Noor Mohammad Taraki usurped the throne of Afghanistan. That is in the sense the post of the leader. Back then, in 1978, there existed something called People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan, which was split into two Marxist-Leninist groups. One called the Parcham Party and the other one is the Khalq Party as such. So these were the two divisions, and as time progressed, Noor Mohammad Taraki, who was the then leader of Afghanistan back in 1978, was assassinated by Hafizullah Amin. Not that to say that Noor Mohammad Taraki himself was innocent, he has also attempted to kill Hafizullah Amin prior times, different times. So that is the introduction. The start begins from the infighting of the groups, infighting of different types of ideologist groups who are fighting for power. You know, the greed for power as such, to rule Afghanistan. That being the sense, now Noor Mohammad Taraki has been assassinated. The next who takes over as the leader is Hafizullah Amin. So Hafizullah Amin, as the leader of Afghanistan, is said to have committed many insurgencies as such. Insurgencies, the people were not treated properly, like he was a tyrant. Tyranny prevailed in Afghanistan. And at the same time, there was another event happening in the border country, in the neighboring country, that is Iran. In 1979, Iran witnessed something called an Iranian revolution. What happened in the Iranian revolution was the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza, the Shah of Iran, though he believed in secularist ideology, he did not treat his people properly. So given the atrocities, given everything committed in Iran by the Shah, they started revolting against it. In 1979, Iran witnessed a revolution. This affected the Afghanistani revolution. Back in 1979, people witnessing the Iranian revolution they were influenced by the ideology, so as to overthrow Hafizullah Amin because of his atrocities. So that was what led to the beginning of the Afghanistan conflict. And as the tumult in Afghanistan started growing and the peace started going away, peace and order, everything was slowly coming down. That was when it was during the Cold War times. that the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, or the Soviet Union, tried to involve in it. It tried to involve in Afghanistan. It invaded Afghanistan back in 1979, which led to the beginning of the Soviet-Afghan War in 1979. So as I said, what happened back in 1979, given the Iranian revolution, given the atrocities committed by Hafizullah Amin in Afghanistan, what happened was the insurgencies arose against the government among both tribal and urban groups in Afghanistan, and all of these known collectively as the Mujahideen. In Arabic, those who engage in jihad, fight against the enemy of Islam. They were Islamic in orientation. So, taking the Iranian revolution as an inspiration, these ethnic groups of different ethnicities in Afghanistan, those tribes and all those urban groups, they started revolting against the reign of Hafizullah Amin back in 1979. And as peace was waning in Afghanistan, these uprisings, along with internal fighting and coups within the government between the peoples and the banner factions, prompted the Soviets to invade the country in December 1979, sending in some 30,000 troops and toppling the short-lived presidency of Hafizullah Amin. So Hafizullah Amin as the president was overthrown by the Soviet Union, and it appointed another personality by the name Babrak Karmal. So another leader was appointed as the leader of Afghanistan, as the president of Afghanistan, and there was an attempt to write a constitution for Afghanistan, promising so and so rights, so and so duties for the people. So as Babrak Karmal was placed on the throne, and there was a promise for proper rights to people, and slowly the communist influence or the Soviet influence on Afghanistan was again growing. And there was a time where peace was expected to be restored in Afghanistan during all this tumult. And owing to this peace, mind you, we are talking about 1979, which was during the Cold War era. The Cold War took place between 1945 to 1991 between two superpowers of the time. The United States of America with the capitalist ideology, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, the USSR, with the socialist ideology. That is in the sense, as Soviet was gaining control in Afghanistan, USA did not like it. It also wanted to intervene. It wanted revenge against Soviet Union, because prior to Afghanistan, Soviet Union has also showed its presence. It also humiliated United States in countries such as Angola, Ethiopia, and Africa also. So in such countries, it also spread its influence, and thereby America did not like that influence. So what did it do? It collaborated with the intelligence agencies, the ISI of Pakistan, the MI6 of Britain, and its Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. So what did United States do? This is an important operation termed as Operation Cyclone. Operation Cyclone is said to be one of the costliest operation ever carried out by the Central Investigation Agency of the United States of America with a collaboration with foreign agencies. What did it do? In order to fight against Soviet influence in Afghanistan, it sponsored lots of money and weapons to the militant groups, the Mujahideen of Afghanistan, back during the Soviet-Afghan War. So by 1979, as Soviet invaded Afghanistan, it all began. The Soviet-Afghan War continued for about 10 years, 1979 to 1989. And as I just told you, under Operation Cyclone, it was the code name for the United States Central Intelligence Agency covert program, secretly, to arm and finance the jihadi warriors Mujahideen in Afghanistan for 10 years. That is, during the Soviet-Afghan War of 1979 to 89. Prior to and during the military intervention by the Soviet Union in support of its client, the Republic of Afghanistan. So it wanted to support Afghanistan. It fought against Soviet Union because it is the Cold War era. Two superpowers only existed back then. Further, funding began at the time of 1987. During the midst of that war, the funding was about 20 million to 30 million US dollars, and in 1987 it rose up to 630 million. Understand how much money was spent. And there came a time where the Mujahideen, the militants, the jihadist warriors also had missiles also in their hands. So that was what Operation Cyclone was all about, as such as 10 years carried on, the war carried on, United States kept on sponsoring weapons to the militants in Afghanistan, and as 1989 came, Soviet Union began losing its influence in Afghanistan, because in 1992, as we all know, the Soviet Union crippled into different nations, and into nations such as Russia, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Armenia, those all in the Central Asian region. So as Soviet Union was growing weaker internally, it was unable to, it thought like in such a way that what would be our use in invading this country, because our own situation is not going good. Getting me? So as subsequently in 1992, Soviet Union crippled. So it was all divided, and United States remained as the ultimate superpower. So under Operation Cyclone, this was what happened. And there was another president of Afghanistan by the name of Mohammad Najibullah, who came in 1986. So what happened was, Mohammad Najibullah has come in, Geneva Accords were signed. So according to Geneva Accords signed between Afghanistan and Pakistan, the guarantors of the witness of the agreement was United States and the Soviet Union. So what was agreed upon? The United States said to Soviet Union that if you withdraw your troops from Afghanistan, we would stop supplying weapons to these mujahideen people. So that's what was an agreement which was carried upon, and as it was implemented, Soviet Union pulled all of its troops in 1989 back from Afghanistan. So this is what has happened, and Mohammad Najibullah continued as the president of Afghanistan. So as again under Mohammad Najibullah, what has happened in Afghanistan was, in September 1986, a new constitution was written, which was adopted on 29 November 1987. The constitution weakened the powers of the head of the state by cancelling the absolute veto. The reason for this move, according to Mohammad Najibullah, was the need for real power sharing. Here, there was an attempt made by President Mohammad Najibullah in order to restore peace in Afghanistan by writing a new constitution and talking about sharing of rights. So there was another window open for Afghanistan to come back to the normal way, that is peaceful way. All should go on purpose, on track. As the Soviet Union left, the Afghan Civil War began in 1989, as I just told you before, because the militant groups, which the United States continued supplying more and more weapons to the Mujahideen in 1989, though after the Soviet Union left, and there started a fight among them. There was infighting among these groups themselves, that who would be the leader of Afghanistan, and therefore in 1989 the Afghan Civil War started. So during the Civil War, Mohammad Najibullah's government started to cripple. So the Soviet Union promised to give some foreign aid in order to help Afghanistan. You know, when Najibullah was the president, he tried to bring some reforms into Afghanistan. Proper social reforms, proper educational reforms, proper foreign aid in order to aid more grants to spend in the country in order to witness some development. But though Soviet Union was helping Najibullah, because it itself started to cripple in 1992 during the course, the Soviet Union's help couldn't help much, and then the resurgency started. The rise of Taliban begins now. Consequently, as the Geneva Accords were signed and agreements were reached upon, Soviet Union pulled off its troops from Afghanistan in 1989. Thereby continuing, as time progressed, in 1989 itself, the Mujahideen, the resurgent militant groups who were fighting against the Soviets in Afghanistan, began fighting among themselves. They were infighting among themselves for search of a new leader. So as the continuous fighting was going on between these groups, a new leader emerged at the scene with the name of Burhanuddin Rabbani. That being the case, in 1989 to 1992, these insurgencies, these militants kept on fighting against each other. That led to the birth of the Afghan Civil War, as I explained before, between 1989 to 1992. And in between all this conflict, a new power started rising, the Taliban. So in Pashto language, Taliban means students. It literally means students, and it all started with a personality called Mullah Omar. who formed the group Taliban with 50 students, and the ideology of the Taliban was more extreme. They had a more religiously extreme ideology compared with that of the Mujahideen, which comprised of many ethnicities. That being the case, more and more people joined the Taliban organization, which started with 50 students. Thereby continuing, it emerged in the early 1990s in northern Pakistan following the withdrawal of Soviet troops from Afghanistan. Fine. So as Taliban was formed, it started taking over the control of Afghanistan. As time progressed, the Taliban took control over 90% of Afghanistan. And in the course of the civil war, as time progressed in 1989 to 1992, Muhammad Najibullah, the then president of Afghanistan, was eliminated by the Taliban and established what it calls the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. As it took over Afghanistan, it believed in something called Pashtun nationalism. So they governed with the strict Sharia law of Islam. So the Taliban, when it took control of Afghanistan, did the following things. It was accused of committing many cultural abuses and human rights abuses also, and under its jurisdiction, it has banned many things. It has banned television, it has banned internet, it has banned foreigners, it has banned embroidery, all that stuff. So what was made compulsory was men should grow a beard and females should cover themselves completely with a burqa. Even the girls were not allowed to study above the age of 10. That was the case by the Taliban when it was governing Afghanistan. Then the Taliban also introduced and supported punishments in line with their strict interpretation of Sharia law, such as public execution of convicted murderers and adulterers, and amputating people who are convicted of thefts. So initially, when the Taliban came into power, the early popularity of Taliban was due to the cause of in stamping out corruption, curbing lawlessness, and making the roads and the areas under their control safe for commerce to flourish. So in the beginning, when Taliban started controlling Afghanistan, it has done these following things. So their popularity started growing, and among the population, the Afghan population, they believe that slowly again order was being restored back in Afghanistan. But due to the human rights violations, due to all those bans that Taliban put on the Afghan people, this was criticized by many countries all over the world. And one example where cultural abuse took place was the destruction of the Buddhas of Bamiyan in Afghanistan in 2001. That being the case, to fight off Taliban, an alliance was formed under Al-Masud in 2001 called the Northern Alliance. But the Northern Alliance was unable to defeat Taliban and Al-Masud was killed. Following it, just 2 days later, and Saudi terrorist by the name Osama bin Laden, he attacked the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center in New York, which we popularly known as the 9/11 attacks. Following the 9/11 attacks, these attacks changed the course of the world completely. And that was when the United States started a global war against terrorism back in 2001. So Osama bin Laden, in his justification on to why he has attacked the World Trade Center, he says that he accuses the United States of ill-treating Muslims in different countries, supporting with Israel, not supporting the Palestine cause and all that stuff. So he said that he wanted revenge against the ill-treatment of Muslims, and we have taken our revenge by attacking your World Trade Center. But America also now wants revenge. So it deploys its troops in 2001. It continues with the war in Afghanistan. So by 2004, the Taliban is put aside by the United States of America, and election was conducted in 2004, the presidential election of Afghanistan, in which Hamid Karzai emerged as the president of Afghanistan with a suffrage of 6 million people who came to vote. That being the case, further, a new constitution was to be written in Afghanistan again. More human rights were promised, more fundamental rights were promised under the under the purview of the United States, which took control of Afghanistan, which invaded Afghanistan in 2001. So in 2004, a new government was formed, and in 2011, one of the most famous operations carried out by the United States Army, Operation Neptune Spear, in which Osama bin Laden was killed by the United States forces in Abbottabad in Pakistan in 2011. That was. Further, though the United States was able to put a check on Taliban to a certain extent, it popped up in many places. The Taliban, its attacks and all those areas, it popped up in isolated areas of Afghanistan. That means the Taliban was not completely eliminated, and it is getting ready to pounce back. So as time carried over, came 2020. But before that, and when Barack Obama was the president of the United States of America, they devised a plan to pull out the United States troops away from Afghanistan, because there was a lot of tumult in the United States, because the people of United States thought that the war against Afghanistan was not that of America's, because already Bin Laden was killed. More and more money is being spent on Afghanistan. That is, an estimate says $2 trillion has been spent on the army again in the Afghanistan war. So, and another one is the troops are being killed, our people are being killed in a war which is not ours only. So that's what the United States people were about, and there was a pressure on the government to pull back all those troops. So it all started with Barack Obama, which was overseen by Joe Biden when he was the vice president of the United States back then. Then came Donald Trump. Donald Trump this time came up with what is known as the Doha Accords. So he started talking with Taliban. They came onto a single table on a single stage and began talking peace talks. So the United States said, we will pull back our troops, but you should not associate yourself with terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda. So that was what was told to Taliban, and some other terms also was said, and it was agreed upon, and the peace process started. Slowly the United States started pulling off its troops back, and now the current situation is how Taliban is raging in Afghanistan. More and more refugees are being picked up. So that's all what is happening in Afghanistan right now. So despite grave concerns that if the United States pulls away completely from Afghanistan, there might be another rise of the Taliban again. But despite all these concerns, the United States decided completely to pull out from Afghanistan, and it has already put its hands up saying that it's not our war. We are not at all responsible for it. We are not at all related to it. So as USA eliminated, the Afghanistan situation started turning worse. Then, if that is the current situation, try answering some questions. What was the reason of the United States being in Afghanistan? Because it has already killed Osama bin Laden in 2011. Why did it continue for another 10 years until 2021? Another question can be, if the United States Army's motive was to completely eliminate Taliban, the objective was not even accomplished. So if that is the questions arising in your mind and what I am trying to ask right now, try to put your views in the comment section down below and try to reflect upon what you have understood in this video, because the current situation in Afghanistan is very, very grave, and people all over the world are concerned about it. So this is my explanation on the history of Afghanistan, the emergence of insurgency, the Taliban, and what is the current situation in Afghanistan. Hope you like this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.